Hello folks, how you doing? It's old Des Catties. This video is basically for someone who I'm going to do a shout out for now. It's Leslie G. I'm not going to say your surname, you know, in case you get loads of stalkers looking for you and all that, but basically what I'm going to do is, this video is really for you and for anyone else for that matter. I'm basically going to show you how to do bannock bread. There's 1,001 videos on different people showing you how to make bannock bread, but as a privilege for moi, it's nice when people, whether it's subscribers or people that viewers to me channel and all the rest of it, when they actually want to see Des Catties sort of angle on making stuff. So here goes. Now this is my method, my recipe that I use. I'm not saying it's mine, I'm just saying it's what I use. I mean, there's 1,001 different recipes you can use, but this is what I use for making my bannock bread. So I'm not going to go into the history of bannock bread and all that, because that's not what the context of this video is. I'm literally going to show you how to make it and how to cook it on the fire. So the first ingredient you need is self-raising flour. You also need some sugar. Got some salt, and then finally some dried milk powder. What I've also bought as well, just as an extra, I bought some cinnamon powder as well to put into the bread mix. When you make a bannock bread, you can basically use quite a lot of different ingredients. In regards to those ones that I've just shown you are the base ingredients without the cinnamon. But then, as I say, you can add cinnamon to it. You can even, rather than use water, you might want to use a can of Guinness or a can of ale or something like that, and mix it up, and you'll get a nice, real dark kind of edge to your bread. Also, maybe to change the sugar to maybe brown sugar. That's quite a nice one as well. And one that I've used in the past is cinnamon sugar. So it's basically sugar that's got a taste of cinnamon in it, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is my old Steven Spielberg prowess. I'm just going to sort of rearrange the camera down onto the ground, and I'm going to show you the ingredients and all that when I mix them up and put them into the little mixing bowl that I'm using today. Alright, okay, so bear with us a sec folks while I bring the camera down and all that stuff. Oh, la la la, there he goes. Okay. So we're just going to be working on now. I'm going to be out of the camera now, but I'm still going to be talking. I do apologise for the airplanes flying over. So basically what I'm going to use is my mixing bowl. Okay. With the amount of ingredient, the amount that you use, I mean basically it's down to you. I tend to put probably maybe sort of 4 or 5 scoops of large spoonfuls into the bowl, into my mix, and then I'll probably put sort of maybe half in regards to the milk powder. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll quickly grab a spoon. I didn't realise I didn't have a spoon there as well, so I'll grab my spoon, but I'll basically just use good old wooden spoon there, one that I've carved. Alright, so I'm going to put 3 to 4 heap spoonfuls in there. What I'm going to do, I also want to leave a bit of flour to the end as well, just when I mix it, because the last thing I want to do is, if I'm mixing this stuff out here, you know, I want to create as less mess as possible, unless you want to sort of prepare it at home. So I'm just going to put, as I say, sort of 3 to 4 heaped teaspoons of flour in there. Okay, the reason why I use self-raising flour, it just avoids carrying an extra ingredient of yeast. I mean, if you want to do that, you can carry plain flour and then just add grease. Alright, so we'll just go for 4 spoonfuls at the moment. Alright, we'll save that as well, because I'm going to need to dip my fingers in it if I need to mix up the flour and all the mix together. And then what I'm going to do, as I say, I've put 4 in now, and now I'm going to put 2 scoops of milk powder. Alright, salt, I'll only add a little bit of salt. I mean, it's totally again up to you to, to taste how much you want to put into it. So I literally am just going to put, if I can sort of negotiate it, I'm just going to literally put sort of like a pinch in there. Alright, and then I'm just going to add some sugar, and I'll put just one scoop of sugar in there. Alright, Now what I tend to like, I prefer to use when I'm mixing it is a fork as opposed to the spoon, because like I say, I want to create as less mess as possible. Now what I'll do is I'll mix up all those ingredients together. I mean, at this stage you might want to put, if you're using something like the cinnamon, you can put raisins into it, you can even put bits of cheese, chocolate, whatever you like. So I'll mix it up there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to pour just a little drop of water in there. I want to try and keep the texture quite dry, but dry to touch. I mean, obviously I want to mix the ingredients with the water, but once I start to sort of mix it or mix it with, once I start handling it, I want it to be a kind of a dry mixture as opposed to a wet one. Only reason being as well is when you start cooking it, depending on how thick it is as well, what starts to happen is you might have a bit of a doughy centre to the dough and it becomes a bit clacky. So it's actually quite nice just to, I like it to be sort of, you know, quite a dry mixture as opposed to a wet one. Now, as I say, I just put a little drop of water in each time, and I think right now, I think that's quite suffice. I mean, what I'll do now is I'm literally going to add a little bit more flour. I won't go too mad, I'll literally just add a little bit at a time. Right, and the last thing you want to do, don't go over the top, because you'll be just chasing your tail with what, you know, with putting your water in and putting your flour in. As I say, you can replace the water with like a can of beer, but I'm drinking that tonight, so I'm not sacrificing a can of beer for it. But as I say, you know, you can do this at home or when you're camping yourself. You can, it's not a bad thing as well sometimes, if you're sort of backpacking and stuff like that and you want to make some bannock bread. Good thing about it as well is that you can make the mix up at home, put it into a resealable type bag, and then just put loads of flour in there, and then basically just stop it from sticking inside the bag, and then you've basically got, you know, once you've got your fire going, you can either just make a type of patty, if you like, to go inside your frying pan, or you can literally just get a stick, say like a length of hazel, remove some of the bark off, and then twist the bannock mix around the stick, and then you can actually bake it on the fire. Right, so I'm still going to add a little bit more flour to that. That's not bad actually. And the reason why I say I prefer to use a fork than a spoon, because otherwise with the spoon it just congeals all over it. And when you're out here, it's nothing worse than you know, you haven't got, like me where I am today, I haven't got copious amounts of water to start wasting. I need to be a little bit frugal on the amount of water that I use for washing up and stuff like that. Okay, so that's the kind of mix there. We'll just carry on a little bit more. You haven't got to knead it like you would do sort of like when you make a normal loaf of bread at home. We are literally just rolling, mixing up the materials, mixing up the ingredients together. Alright, I'll scrape them out there. I do apologise for the flight traffic, people. Put just a little bit more in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use that now just to move the excess off the fork. Okay. Right, so we've got quite a lot, you know, there's not a lot of mess there really, which is ideal. And now I can sort of handle it. To create. I'm not kneading it as such. I'm literally just mixing up the rest of the ingredients. Okay. Oh, can I put that bit back in? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Right. Oh, there's a bit more there. A bit of excess. That probably still feels a little bit damp. Not too much, but just again I'll add a little bit of flour on there because I can. Right, now I haven't bought any oil with me, so what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to pour The pan that I'm using is quite a new one, so I should get away with. It's quite a non-stick pan, so I should get away with just patting this straight into the pan. So what I'll do is I'll leave it in there for now, while I scrape the excess crap off my fingers, my hands. Alright, so that is pretty much it now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my pan. It's lovely when it's made, it's actually nice to be just literally dipped with maple syrup. But what I'll do quickly, I will put in, I've just totally forgot me cinnamon powder. So what I'm going to do, folks, I'm literally just going to put a little bit on top there. I mean, I love cinnamon, I'd absolutely drown it in cinnamon, but I've got Andy here as well, so I don't know whether he... Andy, do you like cinnamon?
I don't mind cinnamon.
Yeah, alright, no worries. So I've got some cinnamon in now, and I'll mix that up into the bread mix. I might even put another sprinkle on it when it's in the pan. Alright, so that's quite a nice dry mix, that. Alright, so what I'll do now is I'll literally just pan it round onto the fire. Yeah, that's about right, isn't it? Right, okay, so we get the pan out. Right, so we'll stick the pan on the fire. Okay, we'll leave that for a few seconds just to warm up. Alright, and then once we've done that, we can just literally spread that out in the pan. What I'll do is, I might actually put that steak in a bit lower, so it's close to the ember. Okay, and we just give that a few seconds now just to sort of warm through. Yeah, that's good. So what I'll do now, I'm literally just going to get my my bannock bread mix, and we're not going to fill the pan because I obviously haven't done a massive mix. Alright, so I'm just going to push it into the pan. I mean, as you can see as well, because it's got self-raising flour in there, it will have risen slightly, and it will rise a bit when you actually start doing your cooking. Alright, so we'll put that on the fire for now. We'll let that heat up. Now, you don't want it burning, and once it starts going, it's not a bad thing as well, is to sort of get it moving in the pan so it doesn't stick to the bottom. I think there might be a tiny bit of grass there, look, I'll just take that out. And that's really it really now, so we've just got to let the heat do its thing. So this would probably be the sort of long-winded boring bit, but as I say, when it's done, it's nice to even to cook sausages, wrap sausages up in it and bake it with sausages, or spam, which is one of my favourites, and basically what you like. I've done it with kids before where they've done it with chocolate, they've put chocolate into it. Nuts is another one, you know, if you're out and you're getting some elderberries and blackberries and stuff like that, you might want to put them in there as well. Now Redder, that's just starting to colour already. Alright, so I'm quite pleased with that. So I'll leave that on there again. And again, once you've got a ever slight sort of texture, sort of a not hard, but like a slightly harder texture than when it was soft. We can then keep it moving in the pan so it doesn't stick. We'll add a little bit more bannock bread to it. We'll add a little bit more cinnamon to it as well. Why not? Because we can. And we'll see how that goes. So we'll leave that for a few seconds now. Is I'll flip it over, and again we're getting sort of that nice light colour. Again, I'm going to put a little bit of bit more cinnamon powder, just dust it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to get the heat burning, you just want to sort of do it nice and gradual. So, as I say, when it's done, it's actually lovely with a bit of maple syrup, or just nice plain one, especially to put currants in it as well, because you get that nice juicy sweetness from the currants or your raisins or whatever it is you're using. And as I say, really, apart from sort of like the mess, you know, apart from what's in your frying pan, I mean, I've managed to get that kind of mess with just that, you know, with just the fork. Alright, so that's obviously going to take a lot less water for me to clean when I'm out here, but as I say, you can prepare it at home. You know, just do the same sort of thing as what I've done there in the mix. Mix it all together, put it in a resealable bag with some extra flour in it, and then you know, you've got something to take away with you. You know, because the last thing, you can't sort of take a loaf of bread, as it were, because it just gets squashed in a rucksack. Unless you're car camping, then yeah, all day long, but it's also nice to make. And it's, as you can see, it's started to rise there. That's a nice colour on it there. Alright, so we'll just put it in that side. And you're better off taking your time so it cooks right through, because otherwise the middle gets quite doughy. But that's a superb colour. I think with the cinnamon on it as well, that's probably helped. And you just let the heat do its thing now. But as I say, don't be scared to experiment. You know, use you know, mostly put garlic in it if you want, ramsons or something like that if you want to. You know, if you're out foraging this time of year. Even nettles, you can even sort of like burn some nettles and put nettles into it. It really doesn't matter. It's a very, very versatile sort of thing to make. Alright, so and as you can see, it's, you know, it's thickened up ever so slightly. Right, we'll stick it a bit more down. Leave it for another couple of minutes if we can. Yeah, it's a little bit doughy still in the middle, and as much as I don't mind that, I do prefer it. I mean, if I'm going to eat it when it's a bit doughy in the middle, then what I'll do is I'll tend to have it a little bit more burnt, like slightly dark, like a dark brown, because I think it overcompensates the clackiness if you don't get it cooked right in the middle. But obviously, for the purpose of the video, I'm just trying to sort of try and show you an end product in sort of like least amount of time. I mean, I was lucky to get away with oil there as well, because it's quite a new pan, so I didn't put any oil in there. I was lucky enough to do it dry fried. But if you've got a pan that's maybe not too good, like cast iron or something like that, then you might want to put a little bit of oil in there. It's not even a bad thing as well, that if you can do a big one to sort of fill your pan, you can almost sort of cook the underside, cook on both sides a little bit, and then just literally tilt it up against the edge of the fire and allow the fire to do its thing as well. Alright, and that's going quite nicely now. That's hot as well. Still a bit doughy in the middle. That's because it's risen. Okay. And so folks, that is pretty much it. Yeah, I don't want to sort of carry it on because it's obviously still cooking, but at the end of the day, that's pretty much. I'll take it off the fire for a sec just to show you. But that's the kind of, once, you know, obviously without the clackiness in the middle, that is, oh, it's hot now, but that's the bannock bread sort of cooked. Yeah. Apparently you're supposed to tear it as opposed to cutting it, because it's supposed to be bad luck, but you know, it's totally up to you if you want to believe in it or not. It depends how superstitious you are. And then literally tear it and then eat it, you know, or add it to, you know, whatever floats your boat, you know, you do what you like. Alright, so for Leslie G, and for anyone else out there that wants to see my take on how to do the bannock bread, okay, that is pretty much it. Okay, I'm going to stick it back on the fire because I just want to take the clackiness, and then me and Andy are going to eat it, alright, with some maple syrup. Okay, so thank you for watching. You know, please leave a comment, hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs down button if that's the way you are, and just let us know what you think. Alright, so thanks for watching folks, have a good one and take care. Laters.